Hello, welcome to another Burgundy with Tweedy video. I'm afraid the filming setup has gone slightly awry. I brought my usual camera along with me. Apologies, my hand is now in shot. The GoPro. And then turned it on over there to do a bit of B-roll and realised I had forgotten to put the card in it. So I'm going to have to do this all on my phone. I have brought along with me some Gevrey Chambertin from Louis Boillot. I think I have already attempted to make some video tasting notes of this, at least once, possibly even twice, but I don't know, it just didn't come out very well for whatever reason. It's a producer I'm relatively familiar with, Louis Boillot. Bury Brothers and Rudd seem to somewhat specialise in them. I'm guessing they're a relatively large producer. I forget what the first vintage I had, but I definitely had the 2017 before moving on to this, the 2018. As I've probably said in a previous video, I remember with fondness the member of staff in the shop as I was fumbling to figure out how to pronounce Louis Boillot. Was it Boillot or Boillot, or and he said just say it with confidence and it will be right. So it's something like Boillot, but it's spelt B-O-I-L-L-O-T, is it? Pretty dark colour, isn't it? Look at that. I don't know if that's coming out okay given the outdoor setting and everything. On the nose, I would say not instantly obviously cherry. It's definitely fruity, but that fruit character is a bit more plummy, possibly a bit of black currant. And that dark character, maybe there's a bit of dark cherry in there, but that dark character seems to continue onto the palate and getting more dark fruits. Quite rich, rather than straightforwardly concentrated, which is that sort of hallmark of Gevrey Chambertin. There's some richness here. Thought you might want a label shot now that I've poured some wine down it and made it look a little bit less handsome. Definitely would say plummy, and it's sort of plummy. I think I've said this about other wines before. It's plummy in the sense of Chinese plum sauce. Is that the one that you put on duck pancakes, or is that hoisin sauce? Sort of rich, plummy, ever so slightly subtly spicy kind of plum sauce. And it reminds me of a much more aged wine. It's like a wine from more like 10 years old Gevrey Chambertin, when it starts to develop those old leather armchair tobacco woody sort of notes. It's not hugely tannic or woody, but there is this sort of subtle soft background note of something like tobacco, and it has that slightly sort of aged richness that you'd find typically in a much older wine than this. It's only 5 and a bit years old. Definitely something sort of slightly dry and slightly smoky on the palate. Like I said, a little bit like tobacco. Some floral notes developing on the nose a little bit. Possibly a hint of violet there. It's something sort of prettier and daintier than rose. And those are the only two flowers you ever really seem to get in Burgundy. I read some other tasting notes for this wine and they talked about things like it being seductively silky. Silky is definitely an adjective I look for in wine, and that's something that I really enjoy when you have that kind of really smooth mouthfeel. But I'm not sure I exactly get that here. I think it's partly because towards the end of the palate it gives way to that something almost slightly smoky, and then there's these fine grained tannins, quite dry finish actually as well, quite dry, fine but tannic finish. Yeah, I'm not sure silky is a word I'd really go for here.